Hi guys. It is the next day from my last video. I left so much out, dude. So much. I left so much out. I rewatched that and I was like, oh my gosh. I have to do a follow-up immediately because there's just so much left out. Can you see my breath? Can you see it on the camera? It's like so chilly out here. I need gloves. I have a heater. It's right here. It's just not close enough. I don't know. I have my book down here. It's gonna burn up my book. It's Third Eye, by the way, not Crown. Let's start there. Oh, I was so excited about it too. But yeah, no, the shower thing is crazy. If y'all know what I'm talking about from the last video. But if you don't, you gotta go watch it. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell the story real quick about how that opened, how I felt that opening. What is happening? Just sporadically moving my stuff. Woo! Am I like super freaking far? There we go. Is that better? Stop better. Name that movie. Okay, so yeah. This was maybe a little over a year ago. I was sitting on the side of my bed. Like sitting up on the side of my bed, and then I went down to lay. I was gonna lay on the bed, but then I got about halfway to laying. I don't know what happened. A decision was made to maybe not lay down. So then I went back up pretty fast. Like it was like changed my mind and jolt back up. And when it felt like this, just something hit me really hard on the back of the head. And I felt like I catapulted. And the weird thing is like it didn't throw me off the bed, but I feel like it should have. Because it was like so forceful, I don't know. And then I like kind of went back to seating, and I closed, my eyes were closed the whole time, I'm assuming, because all I see is like red. Yeah, no, you would think it'd be like the purple violet or whatever, but no, it was red. It was just like red, just red. Not even want to say spiral, like a tunnel almost. I don't know. It was weird. And I just sat there and I was like, whoa. It tripped me out. And then that vibrating right after, during, like as everything was, it was just so weird. It was so fast. It was like literally just a blink of an eye. And I was just like sitting there like, whoa. And ever since then, this vibrates like this one does. And then of course, still got I'm always going to call it my vibrating vagina because that was just so freaking weird. And again, if you want to know what that is, you got to go watch the video from before. And then the heart one, the heart chakra opened up. I don't know. Maybe the heart was a little over a year ago, and the third eye might have been 2. I don't know. All this like coming back online stuff has been happening, over the last 3 years. Yeah. And that when I was in the backyard and I was sitting there just being in the nothingness. That's what I call it. I call it the nothingness. It's just this state where you're just, it's like gratitude. It's just a little bit of everything thrown in, and you need nothing. You know, you're in this, like, there's no time, there's no nothing. It's just, you're like greatly just chilling in the moment, in yourself, in Gaia, within everything, and you're just like, there's no words for it. And I just was sitting in this nothingness, and then just all of a sudden the sun is my friend. My friend. That's like my probably other Gaia being who I pray to, talk to, work with. I mean, however you say it, I don't know. She's like the deity. I don't label anything. I've never really put labels. Even in my internal world has no labels. like at all. I just, what comes and what I get, the messages I get are from any specific, but I definitely resonate hard with Gaia and with the sun. So anyway, sun's behind the trees, behind the clouds, right? But it's still so shiny bright, but it just happens to be behind something at this moment. And then it comes out, it's moving, and I just close my eyes, and then just all of a sudden I just feel like like here, like I said, I think I came in with this one open. I never had that I can recall any experiences, but this, like with the vibrating, and then again it was just that same, but just right here. The hugs, I didn't mention this either. If I'm unprepared and do not realize someone's coming in for a hug, say I'm just sitting here talking to somebody and then I turn around and someone just hits me with a hug and does not prepare me, sometimes that can knock me on my, I have played that off I don't know how many times, like where are you okay? Yeah, no, I kind of tripped over my feet, or I lost my balance, or play it off, because that energy I can feel people's energy just comes right at me if I'm not prepared for it. And if I'm prepared for it, it's almost like I can put up so that I don't just take it on. It's the weirdest thing. And again, it's that vibration, and it's not so much in my vagina anymore as in my, the pit of my stomach. Maybe that's a whole other chakra separate from vagina. I don't know. I'm still learning. Like I said, I'm not diving deep into any one thing specific. I study it. I get the basics. I get what I need out of it. I don't go down a rabbit hole with it. I just gonna move on to something else that interests me, and that's just kind of how I've always been. Every once in a while, I'll go down a rabbit hole, like the birth chart. That was interesting. But that was a good rabbit hole to go down, because that, hooked me up with a whole bunch of, tools that made me realize, that helped me be able to be okay with who I've always been on the inside, but never expressed on the outside. It's pretty crazy. How much I've kept from the outside world. I've just been living in my own world. And yes, I completely left this out of some of the weird things about my childhood. I was so strange. Teachers didn't know how to take me any more than the kids did. And so again, I just stopped. The story with Mrs. Everly, I told that one. That's just one of many. I'm not going to tell any, except for right now. We'll let those stories come up when they need to come up, and I'll tell them as time goes. But for this one right now, with the teachers not being able to handle me in my weird ways. Well, keep in mind, I had a disruptive childhood. My home was not stable. And then I had this weird inner world that just wasn't lining up with the outside world. And so I'm so conflicted in so many different ways. I didn't know how to handle that. So I had all these freaking weird habits. And one was I would walk 1, 2, 3, 4 steps, and then I would turn in a full circle, facing where I started, and then I'd walk 2, 3, 4 steps and then turn in a full circle. And that's how I walked, and turn in a full circle. It disrupted the class when you'd walk from one class to another, from class to lunch or whatever, your auditorium or whatever. When you had to go in a line at school, I got put in the back. Teacher would be like, I'd pretend jump in the middle, and be like, oh, she don't see me. And then the teacher would just look at me, and she'd be like, to the back of the line. I'd be like, okay. As if I don't know why I'm being put back there. I so was aware of it. Oh, and I had this saying where my eyes cross weird anyway, but I'm going to show you. Ready? You see it? See how my eyes cross weird? I used to just randomly do that. I'd just be talking to people, and my eyes would cross over, and I would keep talking. They'd be like, dude, what are you doing? I'd be like, what? They'd be like, your eyes. And I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. I would do it. I wouldn't even realize. And then I had this other one where I would, when I talked, in between everything, I would just do this weird, These weird ticks. Let's see. I had a whole bunch of them. That one, I had that one up until we've been here up until like 6-7 years ago. I had that one when I would eat. And every once in a while, I will catch myself. And I'll be like, where'd that come from? We don't do that anymore. But I catch it every once in a while. So these weird habits, and I just did this, I guess, because, I had a lot going on. I straight up just from the get-go was just completely just mind fucked from the get-go. Pardon the language. All right, so let's move on. Yes, my person was key to my waking, like, fully. Fully. I mean, how fully awake are any of us? But like I said in other videos, and again, you want to know the full story, you got to go back and watch them. I came in with some sort of awareness that something was up. It took literally meeting my person and going through some of the stuff that we've been through together to like flip that switch, like straight up. So, and that is why he is like completely opposite of all the other relationships I've had. I haven't really been in many relationships. Not really a relationship-y kind of person. Oh yeah, when I was talking about that negative loop, how people just are on the negative loop and there's just no healing. When people are like, healing, what's healing? I realized that people would be like, what are you talking about, healing? And basically, I just want, like, if you're aware, like you're just in a self-reflective kind of thing. You're self-reflecting, you're aware that this has been an issue, you're aware that it's a pattern, you're aware that you're stuck on the loop, and now we're looking for ways to get off of it. We're looking for ways to heal. That's basically what I was talking about. There's not a lot of people that look to resolve. They just complain to complain, and why am I this way? Why is it this way? Why? Oh, poor me. Wow, victim mentality. Bad. And there's just no resolve at all whatsoever. I can't handle that. That is what I'm talking about. If you're resolving, if you're handling, if you're aware of it, and you're consciously making decisions that are going to better said situation you're in, then yeah. But if you're just then no. Oh, and the irritability thing. I was talking about feeling angers and this and that. Well, it's not obviously just anger. It's like sadness and all these other emotions that one can have. I was such an angry person growing up. And then it was anger. It was full on I was just mad at the world, just mad at everything, mad at all of it. Just screw it all. And again, with the victim mentality of the world's against me. Yeah, of course it's against you if you're saying screw it. You know what I mean? Like, what? Silly girl. But let me see. Let me read this whole thing real quick and see where I was going with this. Okay, yeah. My anger over time softened to an irritability. So that's the go-to now. So anything in the anger genre, you can get angry, you can get agitated, you can get irritable, whatever else just makes you, that face that, well, mine's just irritable. It's a frustration. That's another one. It's not so much frustration, because for me, with frustration comes resistance. So it's not resistance I'm feeling when the anger comes in tow. It's more of just a grinding kind of just irritability. And so when I feel someone's anger, I feel it as irritability. I don't feel it as anger. Even if they feel it like full-blown anger, it just comes to me as like irritability. So yeah, that's my go-to. So if I'm a little irritable, that's just, I'm probably picking up on some anger. Or also in my trauma too. And I'm getting better at distinguishing the difference between trauma and someone else's. Again, this is a process. It takes a while. It really does. But yeah. Let me see what else we have down here. Oh, yeah. This is one that I'm not even sure I want to mention yet, but I'm just going to go ahead because this is one that's like been insane for me. Knowing when people are lying. Like growing up, I guess as a kid, you have no filter. You're going to say what you're going to say. And then when you call people out for lying and then tell you you're wrong, then it conflicts with what you know to be true. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's kind of happened my whole life. And so I got to a point where I just stopped calling people out. And that's been, I don't want to call it a flaw, maybe a little bit of a defect. Well, I like that word. I like the word defect because I could sit there and someone can just blatantly lie to me and I could just be like, you're fucking lying. On the inside, I'd be like, you're fucking lying. And then I would sit there and watch them dig deeper into the lie. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, wow. But I'm not going to sit there and go, you're lying. Tell me the truth. Because then what are they going to do? They're going to be like, no, I'm not. We're not going to sit there and go, oh, busted. You're right. As if I was an actual polygraph. Do you know what I mean? So that messed with my head like my whole life when I knew someone was lying. But then, so that's not one that I got a lot of confirmation from. And so there's still so much up in the air that I just know people lied about, but I'm never, ever going to know for sure because it's how it is, So that's one that, when you don't have much confirmation and you're unsure. But I've had enough confirmation, and then like some of the things from the past have come back into the past and present, and revealed itself to have been a lie at the time I knew it was a lie, and then I was able to confirm. So I think that's something that later on, maybe one day I'll start calling people out. But until then, just know if you're lying to me, there's a good chance I know. So try it out. Let's just see what happens. Just kidding. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Okay, and the source experiencing itself thing, and then the angels. Oh my gosh, okay. Okay. First off, let me start with the source experiencing itself thing. I've talked about this. I think I shared this on Facebook. I don't know if I've talked really much about this on YouTube. But with my whole everything's on a scale thing, right? Well, here with the duality, you have one side of the other, right? So you have happy, sad, right, wrong, black, white, But the raw itself is vibrating at different frequencies. So, my brain just went whoosh because something else popped in, but hold on. Okay, so different frequencies. So the human thing, right? Human, divine, right? We're human. We have human bodies. Have them, not are them. And then the divine, which is our souls, our spirit, our energy, whatever you call it. One side to the other. Same thing, vibrating at a different frequency. I mean, right? That makes sense to me. But then growing, and so with that being said, and everyone's co-creating, then every single person on earth has created what's in the universe, and we can all essentially tap into what we need to tap into through the collective, because God didn't essentially make everything himself because essentially we are itself, because we're all energy experiencing itself in different ways, right? That we're all in the same stream, energy stream flowing, and then we all just take what we need kind of situation. But the way I look at it, the way I experience it, is almost like Source, one whole, plucked a piece of itself. And, okay, y'all are all going to derive on Earth. Y'all are all going to derive on this planet. Y'all are going to derive from this part of the cosmos. Aliens, too. Just whatever's all out there. Angels, possibly. Or were angels created by one of these souls that was plucked and to separate so that we have to find ourselves back, which I think how we find ourselves back is through knowing ourselves. It's all pretty freaking simple to me as time goes. I'm like, all these layers, but I think we put them there. I'm starting to really think that we put the layers there as a way to kind of help navigate. I don't know. That's just, and again, I'm working my way through this. And again, change is change. And what I'm saying right now could change a little bit later. But the foundation is the same. We're all one. Right? And angels terrified me. Okay, growing up, again, you want to know, and I still haven't even got fully into the religious mind jacked upness that is the religion from my stepdad. Hold on. I gotta take a drink. Oh. It's my motto. What? And he's super cute. I love my mugs. And I'm wearing the necklace my daughter made me too. It's a little sloth. Say hi, sloth. Hi. It just hangs there on this little necklace. She made these bracelets too. She makes jewelry. Oh, I just looked up and it said 2222. She makes jewelry too. So like she's gonna have like all her stuff up and running soon. But in the meantime, if you want some, hit me up on here. You gotta comment though. And then she can hook you up with some of her stuff. So we were talking about angels. So yeah, growing up, like I said, you got to go back and watch if you want to hear all of that stuff. And later on, you'll hear more. But for now, I was terrified of the God that they were shoving down my throat. And I thought the angels work for him. I don't think I wanted any part of that. The angels kind of scared me. Like the wrath of Michael was just like, oh dear God. And so, yeah, I was just kind of terrified of that. And then the idea of one of them just dropping down from the heavens, like right in front of me as a child, right? Standing there with their wings all. You're supposed to like be soothed by that, right? You're supposed to be comforted by that. You're supposed to be like, oh, thank you. Oh, I'm so loved and protected. But no, dude, I'm ready for him to take his whoosh and just like decapitate me. I mean, this is the fear I had from these angels. So as time went, my soul's evolution, I come to find out that they're not like I thought. That the church God, though, works for some, not for me, and that's okay. Then I started realizing and having all these, well, what if, like angels or, because I went through this whole thing with angels growing up, that angels were never human or something, like they were literally just like God's something. I don't know. I honestly, I'm not even sure, but I remember them not being human or something. And then I'm thinking, well, if they're not human and don't know how we feel, how can they help? I remember thinking that. I remember like, what? That just didn't make sense to me either. But then at the end of the day, we're all energy. So I don't know. It's just crazy. All of this is insane. So I don't, still unsure. Still unsure as I sit here right now in the moment why the angel thing is even coming up. But yes, I will go ahead and tell you a couple of stories. Just really quick. The first story is like I said, I'm healing with my mom. Well, on this specific day, we were having, we have to have hard conversations, and we were having one on this day. So I left her room, and went into the kitchen, and I was just like, oh, please just give me the words. Give me the words. Give me the right words to say that she'll get. Because we're on the different frequencies. We're not hearing each other. It wasn't just her not hearing me. I'm not hearing her. Like, there's something we need to something. Because I don't pray to anything specific or call out to anything specific. And I just, just whatever catches and helps me. And I get the message. And then you'd be like, oh, well, you better be careful with that stuff. You might get something you don't want. But that goes back to how I believe that I don't believe I'm going to catch something that I don't want. I don't believe there's some negative entity out there waiting to, like, fuck me over. By, like, ooh, she's praying for something. Let's pretend we're something else and give it to her. But then we're going to fuck her over. No. If you believe that, then yeah, that's going to happen. I do believe that. But no. So yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's the universe. So anyway, this particular day, I do this. And I'm standing in there, and like with everything here lately, I just get to a point where I don't realize. I'm just there. There's no thought behind it. Right? So I can clear my mind, and then there's just no thoughts. And then I just actively do something, and then in my mind I'm like, oh, what am I doing? And then I realize, and then I'm like, oh, it's surreal. It's surreal. So I'm standing in the kitchen, and I'm just standing there, and I'm like spaced out, and I'm staring at the top of my refrigerator, just staring. And in my mind I'm like, oh, what am I staring at? And I'm like, what is that? And I walk over, and I'm like, no, seriously, what is that? And I look on top of the fridge. There's one of Lily's grandbabies, tiny bowls, like this little bitty bowl. One of her white bowls was just randomly on top of the refrigerator. And I was like, what is that? So I picked it up, and I opened and took it down and looked in there. There was little white bird feathers, little tiny white bird feathers. They were so small, and so like the way they look like angel feathers. And that was my immediate reaction. I was like, and then out loud I was like, Michael? And I just got this overall just whoosh, full body like goosebumps, that whole like resonating like yes, kind of yes. And I was just like, what the frick? The mom came out, and then I showed her, and she's like, what? Oh, and in the meantime, I think before she came out, I counted the feathers. It occurred to me to count the feathers. There were 7 in there. And I was like, oh, wow. And then she comes out, and then I show her, and she's like, well, what are these doing in here? I'm like, I have no idea. I was like, dude, it was so weird. We were talking, and then we were able to resolve what we resolved, right? Like, we were able to communicate better. And it was just amazing. Found out later, Lily and Skylar, granddaughter, were outside playing, and Lily had one of her bowls. She had a snack in there and emptied it, and then she went around and picked up these feathers from outside and put them in this bowl. And then they came inside, and then they were standing in the kitchen, and for some reason, I don't know why, Skylar put them on top of the refrigerator, right? And then I go into the kitchen and just stand there staring for no reason whatsoever. I'm just staring into space. No, there are reasons we do things. We need to be aware of why we do them. If I was unaware of why I'm doing what I'm doing, staring into space. I never would have, you know what I mean? I never would have sewn the bowl. That never would have happened. The message never would have been gotten. I would have never got help with mom. The whole thing never would have, blah, blah, blah. 7 angel feathers. There are 7 archangels. Let's go a week after that happens. I'm in the backyard with Lily, grandbaby, and we're painting with these like weird glittery paints. They're different colors, but then they each have their own glitter. And then we have these watercolor. I should totally grab that and show y'all. I should. I will. Let me finish telling you. And then we took these papers and... Shoot, hold up. And gracefully sit back down. This. We're gonna put this, there we go, kind of off to the side. This, we, in half, like, folded it in half, and then I put like paint on one side of it, and then folded it and squished it down, and when I unfolded it, excuse me, I just totally burped. Raphael, right? That's the one, though. The healing one. Did I say Raphael? Because Ninja Turtle, I mean, he is green. But is that the angel, the healing one? We'll just say Raph. Look it up. See, I don't know. I'm not like a angel professional. But that just, and when I saw that angel popped in my head. Of course, he's green or whatever. That's the color that's represented for him. And I was just like tripping. And like, again, that whole buzzing, vibrating, just goosebumps. It's just crazy. That's just crazy. It's not like he has a staff, right? He's like holding it. And his wings all in the back. I mean, that's just crazy. Can y'all hear me without my mic? If y'all didn't hear, but y'all at least saw the picture. But yeah, and so I look at that and I'm like, they have to be, right? Because, dude, look, there's a picture of them. And I didn't paint that. I just literally randomly put some paint on one side, folded it, unfolded it, and that, dude. And there was a third one. It was days later, and I can't remember. I didn't even write it down. So, but I don't care. You know me. I literally just, I don't care what people think. It's not Lucifer. It's like the dark one, but not Lucifer. It's one of the 7. It's the dark one. Just look it up if you care. If not, whatever. But that one, I painted this angel. Might have been Death. Was it Death? There's another name for him though. Somewhere. I can't remember where I saw that. But anyway, the picture that I brought up with the article I read was so similar, like very pretty freaking spot on to a painting I did a while back. It was like a dark angel, and he was wearing what's that called? An hourglass, right, around his neck. And I was like, oh my god. I painted over it at one time. Like, I was like, oh, that's been cute for a while, but I want something different. I find myself doing that. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I think may have had help from, 3 of the 7. So are they real? I mean, obviously. But I don't know. Again, it's just, there might still be some trauma wrapped up in there. Maybe. There is. Yeah, I haven't even told y'all about the decapitating videos I used to watch as a kid. My stepdad brought home some really fun Christian videos. Yeah, that wasn't traumatizing at all. It was. Okay, hey, that's the end. The end. What are we at? 34? Yeah, we're going to say the end. I love you guys. Like, subscribe, and have a nice day. Love you.